Good afternoon, everyone. This is Caleb Hale, Director of Communications with the SIU Alumni Association, and thanks for joining us on another SIU Alumni live chat. On these streams, we work to bring in different leaders and department heads of campus to let alumni know what's going on, taking a little bit of a deep dive into their territory, also talking about how alumni can help out if that's the case. Before I bring on today's guest, I wanted to do just a couple of housekeeping items because, as you can see, we are going to have our dance card filled out uh, for upcoming homecoming events that are going on. So many of these events relate to homecoming. You can register for a number of them now. They are all open, they're ready to go. Some of them are free events, some of them are paid events, but they are all up, and we hope as many people as possible are coming back to homecoming weekend. Uh, and from then on, we'll be posting new events beyond that. But that's our focus at the moment. So we do hope you can join us in just a couple weeks. Who I wanted to bring on today is a newer face on campus and someone many alumni will be seeing probably for around the first time. Is Dr. Jeffrey Burgin Jr. He is our Vice Chancellor over Student Affairs. And Jeffrey, welcome. Thanks for coming on today to talk with us. And I'll let you introduce yourself just a moment and tell me about some of your or first weeks here or first weeks and months here at SIU.
Well, good afternoon, Salukis. It is indeed an honor to serve as the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Again, I am Jeffrey Burgin. Again, Caleb, thank you very much for having me on. I've been here almost 11 months now, and a lot of my time has really been getting to know the lay of the land, learning what some of the needs of the students are, trying to reconnect them with the alumni, and making sure that we're doing everything we can as student affairs to be collaborative partners in the educational process. And so it's been a good time, still learning. We just made it through family weekend. We're revving up for homecoming and very excited about that. This will be my first homecoming at SIU. And from what I've been told and what I've experienced in the past as an undergraduate at another institution, Salukis know how to party and have a good time. And so really looking forward to alumni coming home and celebrating SIU along with the current students.
Yeah, you'll definitely feel the Saluki spirit here in a couple weeks when they all come back for homecoming. Um, what's kind of struck you early? What are some of your early impressions, of SIU compared to other places that you've been about the alumni, about the students? What struck you?
Well, I've been to many places, and wherever I've traveled recently, somehow, some way, I have found a Saluki, and so that's an amazing thing. They always have a story to tell about their experience here at the institution, and so while different time, different space, different place. We in student affairs and at the institution, we're really wanting to create a similar opportunity and experience for the students that are here today. And so that means as we're working toward bringing back some of those concerts and fun that so many alumni have talked about when I've had conversations with them, I have just found that people in this community and the alumni that I've come in contact with, had interactions with, they just really love this place.
Yeah, they do, and they love it when signs of life are showing out there, and I think we're starting to get back to some activities and some rhythms that they recognize from their days in college, especially the most active alumni we have right now by far are those who graduated in the 80s and 90s, which was a very active period for SIU during that time. Um, Speaking of student life, we're just coming off right now this fall the largest freshman class that we've inducted or enrolled on campus here in a number of years. What comes with that on the student life end? What's being done? How have you been welcoming these students onto campus, and how are they kind of acclimating to the climate?
Well, first and foremost, we've all had conversations and we've had to remember where we were the past couple of years and what that's looked like for us. And it's not something that is specific to SIU. The nation and the world has been impacted. And so trying to create programs that would allow for those students to have a positive experience, allow for our faculty and our staff to engage with the students. This being the largest class, obviously on the student affairs side, wanting to make sure we had enough housing and enough staff to feed and house, which we did. And so, the students have become acclimated. They're becoming very engaged and attending events. We've had large attendance at the several startup events and weeks of welcome. We continue to have events throughout the semester, and we'll continue to do that. But really trying to focus on getting students to be engaged, but also understanding that when we engage them now, those students that are currently here are our ambassadors. So they speak to those students who are still in high school. And so for us, it is another way for us to assist in recruitment. And we did a wonderful job. Wendell Williams, our Associate Chancellor for Enrollment Management, his staff, other stakeholders, including alumni, did an amazing job in getting the word out about SIU and this being a place for higher education. But when we get them here, we want to make sure that there are things that they are going to do. So we always want to do those things that are going to complement the academic enterprise of the institution. And that means those things outside of the classroom. So several conversations have occurred, program initiatives have started, and we're moving forward. And the students, from their commentary, they've been very appreciative of that. So we want to keep this going.
Yeah, and the class arriving this year, this is the first class in a couple of years that's really gotten back into the swing of a more normal experience for college. The previous 2-3 years or so, they really had their world kind of rocked by the pandemic and what it allowed them to do and what it didn't. How are you addressing those students as well? Because that speaks to more of how we retain students on their start at SIU. Might not have been what it would have otherwise been in there. So how are they kind of addressing the needs of those students?
So we really had great conversations with our student leaders trying to find out what are some of the things that they need in order to be successful. Obviously, for our new students, we've created our first year experience program coupled with our University 101 to be more intrusive so that we can understand and retain our first year students. But those students who are already here, having conversations with them about their experience. We understand that it's been a very arduous process. We understand that mental health has been a major part that is impacted them. And so making sure that our wraparound services for those students are present, making sure that there are things for them to do. We always say that an engaged student is a retained student. So just creating those opportunities for them based upon what it is they desire, not what us old folk want them to have, but understanding and having conversations of what they need to be successful.
And what kinds of programs are in play now? What's new? What's continuing? What kinds of things are in play right now to really help enrich that student life on campus? I know you mentioned, there's more of an effort to get things like, major big label concerts back to campus, to get more programs that focus on mental health. But what's new and what's continuing, and what's really the focus on really digging in to make sure their experience here at SIU is, everything it can be.
So we're really trying to have a full prong approach with other stakeholders here on campus. We work closely with our anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have a program, Salukis Helping Salukis. We do go out and clean the community. If there are alumni that are in need, we go to places and assist them with yard cleanup and things of that nature. I know in April, we actually went out to East St. Louis and assisted in cleaning up a yard of, I believe he was a 1957 graduate, and we worked toward getting his porch repaired. And so it's those kind of things so that our students are really in tune with the community, but also making sure that the programs that they would like to have, they've talked about concerts. So we brought a concert in the spring. We're preparing for a homecoming concert, and we're working at bringing larger concerts to the Banterra Center. So not just in Tryout. There will be those concerts that are overarching for the community and a larger scale, wanting to make sure that we're having programming that really speaks to the holistic side of students, making sure that there's financial literacy programs, time management programs, those things that we all experienced when we were in school. But really, it's getting back to the basics and making sure that we're doing those things that are going to make this group of students successful. Some of the things that students like to see, we do have a mental health day where our faculty are very involved and engaged. And, it's a situation where students may go to class depending on the professor, if the professor decides not to hold class that day. But there are events, activities. We're actually going to have a mental health speaker, games, food. And so it's those things that allow for us to enjoy one another. We always talk about, and since I've been here, one of the things that I've continuously heard is that our success is going to be how we interact with, how we engage as Salukis with Salukis. And so, how we treat one another, how we engage with one another is really going to allow for us to be successful and get back to where we want to get to. We've launched our strategic plan, Imagine 2030, wanting to make sure that we're doing all of those things that are relative to the 5 pillars and making sure that we're moving the needle forward.
Yeah, I think one thing that a lot of alumni might not necessarily appreciate to the students of today is that today it's a lot more of a connected world on things. So their students are I think, a lot more connected to not just what's going on in their lives, but what's going on in other people's lives. And, dependent upon what the tone and tenor of that, what's going on is, that can have an impact on their feelings or their emotions, just going through their everyday life as well. So I think building that sense of community right around them within campus, that goes a long way, I think, towards reflecting it. Because while we are connected in many ways, I think it's never been more easier to feel somewhat alone or isolated as well, in a lot of respects.
Well, and one of the things when you talk about the work that we do as a part of the pillar student engagement and success, we really want to make sure that our students are engaged in the community. And so we're creating partnerships with the school districts, with the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Illinois to create mentorship opportunities. We want to make sure that the students that are here, or the secondary students that are here in the area, always look to SIU as the first choice institution. We're not secondary or tertiary. And, like we always tell them, you can only be a hometown hero in your home. And so SIU is the place for you.
So one thing we do always ask is, and alumni always ask, is how can they help in this respect? What can they do to help students who are currently here on campus, or what opportunities are there for them if they're around the area, or if they're farther away? They can't necessarily be here on campus, but what kinds of things can they do?
Well, the easy answer would be write a check, but that's not the answer. We always want to make sure that alumni are giving their time, talent, and treasure. And as you mentioned, not everyone can be here in Carbondale, but there are opportunities for our alumni all over the world to touch someone that may be a potential Saluki. And so, touching base and connecting with our Office of Admissions to see if information can be sent to you and you can go to a school or go to a fair that we may not be able to get to and speak on behalf of your alma mater. One thing that I've learned here, and it's kind of one of the statements that I've learned, if it's been done, a Saluki probably did it. And so, with that being said, there are so many things that our current students can learn from you. The successes that our alumni have had and are having, there was a formula for that. There was something in the experience at SIU that provided them a pathway. Coming back or having these Zoom or team conversations with our students as to what that actually was, so that they can add it to their backpack of success, so that once they leave here, they can contribute to whatever community they're going to be a part of. It's just going to be very important. We have several opportunities. I know that after homecoming, we'll be going right into our leadership week, in which we'll be having a panel for alumni, for some alumni, to where they can talk about their leadership path while at SIU. And that's really talking to students about what the experience is. we really want to connect our students with the alumni because it's very important. And while the landscape may be different, the Saluki spirit is one and the same. And we always want them to have that. And so whenever they go, wherever they go, they will be able to be connected to a Saluki all over the world. And they should be able to share in that spirit, And so our hope is that alumni will just connect first and foremost with our students.
And I wanted to take the opportunity here for just a moment to highlight a couple of the programs that the association facilitates towards that end. It does allow alumni to make some. One program is a fairly easy connection that
Mhm.
you may or may not see. Another one is something more active you can be in. But we do have a couple of programs to that end. One of them being our Ask a Saluki program. Now, this is a program that's not necessarily anything the alumni needs to take an action for, but this is what is available to our students right now. And what happens with this is a student may have a question about what they need to do next in their education or what they could possibly do to advance in the profession that they've chosen, or at least even get started. This site allows them to type in a question. They can formulate a question based on what they want. What happens from there is we're working with a partner called Protopia. They have a program that kind of uses an algorithm to examine our database of alumni versus what the contents of those questions actually are, and try and send that question out to a number of alumni who may have the best expertise to help them. So from the alumni end, you may just start getting a question that comes from an SIU student about something you may have knowledge in. If you do get those kind of things and it's something that you can answer or you feel you could at least help with, we always encourage you go ahead and reach out, or go ahead and answer that question first, and from there it's kind of up to uh, the two people to determine what happens next. That could be a one and done question where something's answered, or it could be something where you offer to extend more help to that student or more contacts, but it's a connection made. So that's really something that comes to alumni. It can be done pretty easily. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it does make a difference to the student who may just be putting a question out there to see what gets answered. The other program I would direct people to, and it's a program we are signing up hosts right now, is our Dinner with 12 Salukis program. This happens in the spring. Right now, we're going to be doing these dinners on March 24th and March 25th of 2023. Now, they are right now restricted to the Carbondale area just because of the, out of respect for the travel needs that students may have. But what this is a program that allows an alumnus or alumna to host a dinner with up to 12 SIU students. And really, what these are not intensely formal things. They're just kind of casual dining experiences where um, alumni and students in the similar areas can kind of talk about what they've experienced since graduating from SIU, what kinds of things are out there that they might consider, that they might not have considered, and it gives them a connection. It gives them some face time with an alumnus in a profession or near a profession that they may be interested in working in. We've had done this for 2 years now. The first year was really kind of a pilot year where we had a small group of people or a small number of groups in and around Carbondale. Last year we had maybe 20, 21 groups overall around Carbondale, each of them with several students interacting in this fashion. So these are two programs that alumni can get involved with, right now, or a program that they might see come across their email. These are the kinds of things that, to what Dr. Burgin said, these are the kind of things that do help enrich the experience and do help let them know that, there are people out there for them, pulling for them in the end when they come out on the other side. So, Dr. Burgin, I'll kind of let you close if there's anything in closing that you'd like to say to this end, and what's kind of got you excited for the rest of the year.
Well, no, again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with the Saluki family. Uh, I'm just very excited about the time that we're in. We have amazing leadership under the guidance of Chancellor Lane. We're moving the needle forward. We have a wonderful team on cabinet. Our faculty are world renowned. We have amazing staff that really want to do everything to assist in the full academic and social development of students. And so this is just an exciting time. We have very many stakeholders. We have those individuals within the community. We have our alumni, of course, but this is an exciting time. We're coming off the Northwestern win. We just had a football game win at home. We're going into a stretch of some tough games. Excited about basketball season. Our Olympic sports are doing well and will do well in the spring season. And so just really excited about the experience that the students of today are having. I'm very happy to be a part of it. And so, my wife always tells me, you need to grow where you're planted. And so I'm going to do everything that I can within my authority, my power, my ability to make sure that the experience that the students have here at SIU is the very best that it can be. And it's not to be second guessed. It is not to be on a lower tier. It is the very best experience that can be compared to any experience worldwide. And so we have the best alumni, we have amazing students, and I'm just looking forward to an amazing year, great concerts, great fun, and an amazing education for our students. So with that being said, the thing I can say is go dogs.
All right, Dr. Burden, thanks for taking some time to speak with us today. Hope the alumni out here learned something or at least got to see your face. So if you're coming back for homecoming and you see him around campus, and you will see him around campus that weekend, go feel free to say hi and let him know how you'd like to help. So we'll be back in a couple weeks with another edition of this. I believe we're going to be doing one for homecoming week, and actually we're going to have Chancellor Lane himself join us on this. So I know he's looking forward to speaking to the alumni who can't come back to campus that week with us, but to offer a little bit of insight as to what people can expect out of SIU coming and how they can get involved, even if they can't necessarily be back here with us all the time. So until then, I thank everyone for being part of it, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you very much.